Morning, everybody. We've got the pleasure of having Tania Anderson with us this morning. Tania has quite an extensive background in men's and mixed netball across both codes, so indoor and outdoor. She coaches the Waikato Tainui teams, and she was also coaching the New Zealand men's netball team, supposed to be working towards the 2020 World Cup this year, but which has probably been postponed, I assume. Right. Good morning, Tania. How are you this morning?
Kia ora koutou, kia ora iti. Yes, kei te pai tērā. I'm good, thank you. A few technical issues, but otherwise, yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So do you want to give us a little bit of a background on your sporting journey?
Wow, you haven't got all day. So, yeah, so I'm pretty old. It started, I guess, as a player, like primary school, played all the way through high school. I went to Tainui College and played for my school, played club in the Waikato district, headed to Hamilton and played there. Got injured really young, devastated. So, and back then ACLs were unheard of. So got hurt and decided to rehab and not play competitive netball. As my journey progressed, just played club for different clubs in Hamilton, and then headed off to the army, came home, picked up netball again because netball's all about whānau and relationships. Yeah. And then found this new sport called indoor netball. And probably my journey for outdoor headed indoor for many years until I had my kids, and then that brought me back to coaching back at Hamilton City, actually. Oh. Yeah. So I've also been lucky enough to coach Waikato Tainui men's and mixed netball, as you said. Currently the New Zealand Men's Open coach, which I'm very grateful for that opportunity, as well as I have an indoor sports club, InZone Indoor Sports, keeps me busy, and yeah, that's pretty much me. New Zealand Indoor Sports, I coach for them as well, so it sounds like a lot, but I'm able to manage it along with school, work, kids, whānau, so yeah.
Yeah. So you do all of that, and you're a teacher at Morrinsville Primary as well?
That's right, yeah.
Awesome. Busy life for you, aren't you?
Yes, it is. It is, like I said, we manage, I try and manage things. Great work community, so they help me too, so they're really supportive of my coaching work, so yeah.
Awesome. So how long have you been coaching for?
Oh wow, 25 years, around 25 years. So coaching started for me back just after I got injured. Someone said, do you want to look after a team? So you look after a team, but probably real coaching. My daughter was 7, went to St. Peter Chanel in Hamilton, and I started coaching the Year 4 team, which led to making relationships at Hamilton City and becoming a rep coach, Year 7 rep coach. And it just kind of spiraled from there, So as parent, player, parent, coach, it doesn't always work, but it seemed to have,
Yeah, some people can do it, Some people, I know I couldn't do it for my children. They probably wouldn't listen to me.
No, that's right. And I guess too, when they're younger, they're a little bit easier to, control, for want of a better word. But once my daughter became, started playing and getting a bit older, I decided to not coach in her age group. So that made life easier for me. So I never coached in her age group. She took a different path and I took a different path. And because I knew that it isn't easy as a parent coaching. So so I just stayed out of her way and she stayed out of mine. So
nice, yeah. So we've started a partnership with Waikato Tainui Netball, and we were working on increasing opportunities for men's netball through the centre. How did that come about?
I guess the relationship. I looked at that question and thought, geez, this relationship didn't just start of lately. It evolved years and years ago. Edna Brown, back in the day,
Yeah.
you know, sort of put a tohu out there for mixed or men's netball, and it's always been there with Hamilton City. But I guess it's the journey, the right time, the pathways. But for netball, men's netball, let's go back to in Hamilton or Waikato, Kyra Courtney Clark. She is probably the person that stands out for me, that sort of built and was the foundations, one of the founding members of our men's and mixed netball. And as the years have passed, you know, the journey and the pathways have opened up. We know that Hamilton City offer intermediate and below boys playing netball. What New Zealand do. But we saw with the Cadbury series, you know, the popular, you know, men's netball becoming a little bit more popular. So when Claire sent out, you know, sort of reached out to, I guess, Kelly Tainui, who was the under-16 mixed coach, and so is our Waikato Tainui coach. The relationships began again. So they've always been there. We've got connections with umpires, Dane, Rawiri, you know. And, you know, the likes of Cows and Dane collaborate to get our umpires out of Waikato Tainui to all our New Zealand men's events. So that, back to your question, the relationships have always been there, but I guess in light of the Cadbury series, men's, boys, netball is becoming more popular. And more accepted.
Which is awesome. It's good to see that something like that can open up more opportunities. So one thing we were working on this year was going to the under-16s North Island Championships, taking a mixed team, which I was super excited to get started. Not too sure how it's, because we still haven't heard whether it's going to be fully cancelled or not, but we just don't know yet. If it doesn't happen, are we still happy to try again next year? Or
absolutely, Waikato Tainui are very committed to making sure that there's a pathway for our young boys and youth. The under-16 tournament in Taranaki, I thought Taranaki were brave to mixed team, you know, and as soon as we saw that, you know, we're sort of, you know, in the New Zealand men's and mixed associations throughout New Zealand, you know, we knew, you know, oh wow, Taranaki's done that, and we know within all our associations from, you know, Auckland through to Canterbury, that tournament would and should be supported. So yes, definitely, we would definitely be back again next year to try, depending on the outcome of Netball New Zealand and decisions that are made around COVID. But absolutely, we're not going anywhere. We're still here.
I was so excited about that. It was like a big, you know, it would have been so fun just to take a mixed team down there, so different. So it would have been fun. But
and the skill level, you know, of the boys, you know, getting that out there, you know, people, I guess, again, using the Cadbury series, you know, the unexpected, do men play? Can they play? They're going to hurt our girls. And in actual fact, they're very skillful at what they do, you know, and that starts at a younger age as well, you know. So, and there would have been great foundations for the under-16 boys that were going to be selected, or, you know, that showed up to trials for Hamilton City. It would have been great. And it will be.
It will be, It'll be exciting, it'll be exciting just to get something going even afterwards, whatever we'll figure something out, we'll be creative and figure something out. What are your thoughts on the virus and COVID-19 and how it's impacting our sport?
I guess there's always pros and cons, and I guess, you know, the cons are, you know, there's no netball anywhere. You know, we're talking about our primary school, our reps, our secondary schools, right up to our ANZ and nationals. But I guess, you know, it's not just us that affected, it's the whole world's affected. And I think if we take some time to sort of reflect on where we are as netball communities, while we're not playing, and I guess there are people out there, I think in my netball community as a Waikato Tainui, for indoor netball, it's probably a time for us to sort of reflect, take some time away for those girls heading into their season. you know, this is where the resilience kicks in, you know,
Definitely, yeah.
experience, you know, like personal training, the work ethics, things like that. But the impact is nationwide, worldwide. So, but for
Yeah.
netball, we'll bounce back, you know, whenever that happens, you know. So 2020 has been and gone sort of thing for us, you know, it could be.
Yeah.
Then 2021, you know, so we just look for the future, and yeah, we make the best of what we can, and you know, we'll be guided well, I think, in the
Yeah.
decisions that are made based on yeah, our well-being, and you know, rest time for those who need a
Yes.
really good rest. Yeah, that's probably the positive, is looking after yourself. I
Yeah.
guess there'd be hopefully a lot of healthy eating and training when you can train. But you've
Yeah.
seen a lot of videos of netball, you know, the umpires, everybody getting behind COVID and doing their bits. So there's
Yeah.
positive coming out of this as well.
Definitely, yeah, yeah. So, in terms of your team, like your team that you were taking to Worlds, because when was it supposed to be this year?
October this year in Perth. So World Cup
Yeah.
was in Perth. The New Zealand men's team, where were we? We were in squad,
Yeah.
and we were about to select the 12 players and the 2 non-travelling. The week we went into lockdown, so we had players that were returning home from Australia in limbo on flights,
Yeah.
and even New Zealand bound, like coming from Invercargill and all around New Zealand. So when the lockdown happened, it was sudden, it
Yeah.
was abrupt, and but we were always, you know, the communication lines had to stay open with our players. They all knew that, you know, at any moment, it's not ideal, especially financially, but
Yeah.
when we got word out of Australia, you know, that we had to sit and wait and see what happens, the postponement announcement came. And we, again, like Netball New Zealand, we sit back and wait for our government or our bodies to direct us at the right time. So, and
Yeah.
we got advice from Netball New Zealand, as I guess Australia will too.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. So, have you got a new date for next year, or are you still awaiting? And
No, we're still away. We're still away. Well, we're still awaiting dates for this year. So New Zealand Men's Mixed Netball Association, the board will meet in mid-May, and that's in line with, I guess, Netball New Zealand's decision making. From there, we'll look at our calendar. So we had to cancel our mixed national. We only have 2 events in the year. So
yep.
New Zealand was cancelled at Easter. Now we sit with a date for New Zealand men's nationals, but again, we have to wait and see, like everybody else.
Yeah.
And those decisions, we just wait for Netball New Zealand to make their decisions, you know, and guide us through ours. So the postponement of Worlds, there's a postponement. That's a good word, postponement. It's not cancelled.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2021, we have no idea when and where. That would be up to Australia, the hosts. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you just work. So, is your team still training hard?
Yeah, so we check in with our boys. So we do you know, a care check-in every couple of weeks. My manager more so, he's really good. And then I remember, that's right, there's 14 guys sitting up there, and we just check in, see how they're doing. They have highs and lows, like everybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, like when we went into lockdown, everybody was, you know, powering through it. Then you lose the motivation, but that, like I said, that's resilience and the work ethics. But we want to be prepared to go when we're asked to go. We want to be ready. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. And we want to be, you know, they know they have to be in condition. So we trust that they do that, and we check in on them. So yeah.
Nice. As a coach yourself, what's
Right.
your kind of what's the biggest thing you look for in a player when you're selecting a player, or even when you can like spot someone out?
That's a really good question. Like, I guess work ethics is for me, but when you're selecting, you're looking for skills. That's, you know, I guess it's easier to not select a player than to select a player. So as a selector, for me personally, cutting is, for want of a better word again, it's not easy to do that, but if you have the basic skills, so you look for those basic skills, And once you have that group, then you look for the highest skill. Also, we also, love those players that work alongside of other players, that nurture other players, that are able to work together with other players. You don't really know that until you've got your team. So I guess the skill level and the leadership is probably the ones, or the two things that I look for: skills and leadership.
Yeah. So like, I guess like what is something as a coach that like the most thing you would like to be remembered by as or by?
This was the hardest question. That was so funny. I think if I rang someone and asked them that question, I probably couldn't say it on here. So, it was, yeah. So what do I want to be remembered for? I guess giving players opportunity. I've always been known as a coach that I might not necessarily take the best player, but it's about the opportunity, and I like player with work ethic. So that opportunity and being able to find that player find their true potential. So I guess when someone says, "I was coached by her," I want them to think, "Oh yeah, she took a chance on me, and she probably gave me the courage or the skills to say, actually, I am good enough." So
Yeah.
but usually the players that come by my way, they're talented. We're lucky as coaches and national teams that you have talent, and but it's just nurturing that talent and probably seeing more as good leaders, as really good leaders and role models for our sport and for especially our younger players.
Yeah. I think as a coach, you have an opportunity to help people in such a different way, like similar to being a teacher, isn't it? Like you get to teach
It's not
values and
even just the netball, some of the kids, and they're not kids, they're grown-ups and parents I've coached that I coached 10, 15 years ago who still ring up. Some of them are even coaching now, and they're really young, but they have found, just I guess it's a different style, being a teacher, being a mum, being nan. I guess that all encompasses my coaching practices, so and when people hear, like I was telling one of my colleagues today, when they hear that I'm a deputy principal or a teacher, they laugh because they just say, "Really?" Like, "Really?" Yeah, really, and what you see is what you get. So the coach is the teacher, and the kids know that the teacher is the coach. So yeah, and that's what I want people to remember, is about keeping things real and giving opportunity to players.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you're doing an awesome job, especially with the development of men's and mixed netball. I think it'll go to a real. It's got so much growth for it. There's so much opportunity there for so much more growth. So it's an exciting time.
Absolutely.
So what have you? How many people are in your bubble at home?
Right. I have a very tiny, but well, it's extended now so that we're allowed. So just my daughter, she's 25 and she moved home from Melbourne a few months ago. So she found herself locked down with mum. I don't know how she felt about that, but too bad. And then in the process, we decided to move home. So we just before lockdown, we had already given notice and we were moving. So we moved home to our papakainga back in Paraweta in Te Awamutu. So as soon as they lifted the levels, her and I moved. So we're finally home, and our bubble's extended by 2 with my sister and her partner. So still a simple bubble. I'm at work. So it still just feels normal to me. I mean, for the first obviously 6 weeks at home, but now that I'm back at work in the class, but the bubble's still small, and we are on a farm now, so it's not crowded. It's pretty cool to be home.
Nice. And how many people are back at school now?
So we have, when I guess when New Zealand got the call to that we were allowed to open schools, it's unknown, there's no secret that some principals didn't want their school open. Some thought that it was too soon. For us, we're at Morrinsville, we're the caretakers of these kids. You know, they rely and depend on us. So if it would have been, if one child walked through the door, we would be at work. So it's about the manaakitanga, and like you said, coaching is just not about the netball, it's the home, it's the everything. So we opened our doors. So we have 2 bubbles at school, a senior school and a junior school bubble. So I have a class of 10, and there is a class, I believe, of around 7. Each week we review, and they're growing. So our bubble's growing this week, and it'll grow again next week. And I guess it comes down to parents making decisions, but it's also about parents returning to work. So as the workforce are returning, our bubbles are getting bigger, which means more teachers will return to work.
Yeah. I know my son can't wait to go back to school. He's kind of asked,
right?
yeah, he's like, how come some of my friends are back at school? I'm not allowed back. I'm just like, oh, you know, it's just how it is.
Yeah, and that's right. It's parents' decision making, and they're making the right decision whatever they decide. But we're here, our doors are opened, like all new schools in New Zealand, and soon, I'm hoping soon that, you know, the doors will flow back open, the classrooms will fill again, and we'll return to a new life and a better life, I hope.
I hope so too. Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think people will be more appreciative of everything, sports, schools, you know, the little things you just go past every day, and
things we take for granted.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Sure.
We'll probably wrap it up now, and I'll let you get back to your job, looking after the future of our people.
Absolutely.
But do you have anything you'd like to say to the netball community before we wrap up?
I guess just on behalf of Waikato Tainui Men's and Mixed Netball and New Zealand Men's and Mixed Netball Association, we still have to keep safe. We still have to stay in our bubble. We still have to do as we're asked. And just looking after one another, being kind. Manaakitanga, whanaungatanga, kotahitanga. Thank you for having me, Jamie.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, and can't wait to catch up after all of this and continue our partnership and work on everything.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
All right. Ka kite.
Ka kite.